Welcome to Positive Outcomes, where leaders turn hard-won experience into income, impact, and freedom.
Welcome to the Positive Outcomes podcast. And this is a place where professionals and leaders, people use their expertise for impact. Our guest today is Tom Fusco. He spent 4 decades leading major engineering and project management initiatives at IBM and Lockheed Martin. From Cold War submarine systems to large-scale commercial applications. After retiring in 2022, he didn't slow down. I'm so impressed. He completed a full stack web development bootcamp and is now pursuing a master's in software engineering. How impressive. Blending his leadership experience with hands-on technical skills. So welcome, Tom, to Positive Outcomes.
Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Doreen. It's an honor to be here with you.
Thank you. Like I said, your background when I read it was absolutely impressive. So now, Tom, let's just go into it. Can you take me back to the beginning? What first drew you to the engineering and later on to system engineering?
Thank you, Doreen. Well, I always, as a kid, I kind of liked math, STEM. I think the key word nowadays is STEM, science, technology,
Yeah.
engineering, and math. And so that was kind of my thing as a kid. And so that really sort of got me into this whole thing about engineering. And, I always say there's a key point, Doreen, I want to make here. And that is whenever I counsel younger people about what do they want to do, I say there's three things. Say,
Amazing.
do what you're good at, do what is your passion,
I love it. Yes.
and do what is in demand. So I'll give you an example. A lot of people their passion is golf,
Right.
right? But they may not be very good at
Good
golf.
at it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so if you have two of those, it's more like a hobby. And that's great. I would say to anybody, that's great. But if you want to make it your career, first off, do your passion, do what you're good at. And
Exactly.
usually
Wonderful.
those two things go together.
Go together.
Then do what's in demand, because if nobody's paying for it, it's not going to be a career.
Wonderful.
Uh,
Correct.
so
So your first assignment at IBM was high stake, right? You were designing for a Cold War submarine sonar system. Can you tell us what was that like?
I was crazy. It was crazy. I knew at that time, Doreen, that I liked engineering. Okay. And I liked math. And it turned out I went to the university. I actually went to the Naval Academy at Annapolis. Okay. And then when I finished up there, I went to the University of Maryland and I got my degree in electrical engineering.
It's impressive.
Okay. And it was at that time, it was something called logic design. Okay. It was before Intel, it was before all the big chips and stuff. So it was more smaller scale, transistor, that kind of stuff. So
Right.
um, I signed up for a bunch of different, um, you know, interviews.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that I really liked was the one with IBM. And
IBM. Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah, I joined it. Now, what was interesting with the IBM interview, and your audience might find this kind of interesting. I just finished my project at Maryland, and I had to design some kind of a clock.
Wow. That's
So
impressive.
I designed a clock, and I brought huge paper with
Mm-hmm.
all these like circuits in to IBM, and I showed it to the guy that I was interviewing with, and he said, "Wow, man, this is awesome." And
Wow.
it was interesting because it became my manager. They offered me a job,
Wow.
and um, I asked him. I said, "Why did you guys hire me?" He says, "Tom, I could see your passion."
Passion. You said passion again. You even went on sea trials abroad, right? You
Yes.
mentioned SSN 587. So the question is, what did that experience teach you about the big picture systems?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Doran. So at that time,
Mhm.
we're talking about, I started with IBM in 79. Now fast forward 1983, 84. Okay. And I had designed uh, a circuit to link up an
Mhm.
old style computer. Maybe some of your audience might remember PDP 11 DEC, digital engineering. It was a old style computer, and I was linking that up to our sonar system. And we had to go on the submarine and we had to test it out to
Wow.
make sure that it was going to work. And the beauty of it was I had some Navy training, but I had not been on a submarine before.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, for your audience, it was it was crazy. You know, it was kind of like if ever you think, uh, y- you know, you have a problem, like maybe you think, geez, I really don't like my apartment. I don't like where I'm living.
Yeah.
Believe me, it's not a
I
problem.
felt that's how it
So,
felt. So
yeah,
I can
yeah.
tell that that big picture clearly. I think that's what carried you into your leadership years, right?
Yes, yes, yes. So,
Because you moved from management within 5 years. And why was that considered like an important time for you?
okay. So, Doreen, this is a great question. So, when I was in school at that time, okay, one of my classes was called statics. Okay. And it was a class, it's kind of like a physics class. It's like if you're going to be a civil engineer and you have to build bridges and that kind of stuff, statics means that you're figuring out all the forces of things that don't move.
Wow.
Okay. You see what I'm saying? Now, they might move a little bit. You're trying not to make them move too much, right?
Right. Right.
And my professor said, if you're still an engineer after 5 years and you're not a manager, you're a failure.
Wow. Say that one more
It was
time.
pretty harsh. Yeah, yeah, it was
Yes.
pretty harsh. But you know, you don't know. I mean, you're a young person and you listen to this stuff, right? And I'm thinking,
Yes.
okay,
He said if you're still an engineer and you're not a manager, you're a failure.
yes. Well, not a fail. I'm being too harsh. If
But
you're not
that's
a
how he said
manager
it.
by 5 years, then you're probably not going to go anywhere,
Basically.
kind of thing. I wouldn't say a failure, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
So, I mean, it
Maybe that was his
resonated.
way to motivate you, maybe.
Yes, it resonated with me. And I thought, okay, because when I first signed on to IBM, I wanted to be the CEO.
I like that. Love that zeal for sure.
Yeah, I wanted to be the CEO. And so I took this to heart. And so my first 5 years started out designing circuits, double E. I went into systems engineering where you more have the big picture, Dory. Okay. And because I had that big picture after 2 or 3 years, in about year four, they asked me to go on the submarine. Okay. Because I understood the system and I could help them make sure the system was still running. And that was a natural, I'll say, path into management.
Yes.
Okay. So I made it into management in about 4 years. Okay. And,
You did.
I thought to myself, Tom, you've arrived here. And I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it. I was really learning about teamwork. Now, what I'd like to say, Doreen, what's kind of crazy is the era that I grew up in, if you collaborated with people, and today they call it teamwork,
Yes, teamwork.
it was
That's the word.
considered cheating. Okay. So you were taught, I don't talk to anybody, I do my thing.
Wow.
Because if I'm collaborating, I'm cheating. They're giving me the answers. You know what I mean, right?
Right. And that's very
Yeah.
different from today. Today
It's very different. It's
yes,
very
we want to
different.
collaborate.
It's very different, but nobody taught me this.
Wow.
So when hired on to IBM, I thought I have to be 10 times better than anybody else,
Right.
or I'm never going to get ahead. Right.
So was there ever a point where you felt the pull to return back to your technical work?
Yes. Yes. So this is where we get back to the point of the three major principles: do your passion, do what you're good at, and do what's in demand. So at that point, I thought I'm getting ahead. So I wanted to stay in management. And, nothing's ever, black and white kind of thing. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy the leadership. It taught me an awful lot about leadership. It taught me about teamwork, working with people. Okay. It may not have been my number one passion dream, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I did it for, 30, 40 years.
That's a long
And
time.
you're picking up on the fact that once I retired from IBM, I wanted to get back to my passion,
Right. So what
which
is
was
that one
technical.
thing that when you were in leadership, what is that thing that was making you want to pull back, to go back to your technical work?
I think it was, that is a hard question. I think it was we used to always have a joke. It says, this job would be easy if it wasn't for the people. Kind of a joke, right?
People
Uh
is not, yeah.
yeah, I mean some people, maybe like yourself, Dorit, they're much more people persons. They enjoy the kind of the messiness that happens when you're
Right.
trying to lead a team and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff, right?
Right. Right.
I did enjoy that. I did,
Good.
but I didn't feel everything is relative, right? I didn't
Right.
feel that I was as good at doing that as I was at my analytical engineering skills. But I still enjoyed it. I loved it. I love leading a team of people. And that's kind of my passion today. I want to give back.
Right. That's
Um,
amazing. That brings us to what you did after retirement, right? So after retiring in 2022, you chose to go back into technical trenches, right? You already said it. What sparked that? What made you to go back? It's just that passion from what you already explained.
that's right, Doreen.
Right?
Yes, yes. It was the passion. But the other thing was I worked all over the world. I worked in India, Japan, China. I actually went to Turkey. I worked in the Middle East, Dubai. I worked in South America, Brazil, UK.
Oh, it's a
Um,
lot of
and
traveling.
I got to meet a whole lot of people with a lot of different cultures and whatnot. And that was so great. But the thing that I always felt that I missed was they would be talking about some kind of very technical thing. And it's like I would understand the buzzwords, but I really didn't understand what they were talking about. So I could help them, from a management perspective. And they always tell you, Tom, to manage something, you don't need to do it. It's kind of like
Exactly.
you take somebody in the NFL, right?
Right.
A coach. Not all coaches in the NFL are football players.
Football players, correct.
Right.
Exactly.
A lot of them are not.
Yes.
So to be a coach, you don't need to necessarily.
Yeah, and that goes for a lot of leadership roles. You don't
Yes.
necessarily have to know all the technical before you be a leader. So, how did the bootcamp experience compare to managing software teams?
Oh my gosh, Dory. The boot camp experience, it kicked my butt. It was funny because I was laughing. I said, I retired and here I am. I'm doing all nighters. you know, but it was great. I loved it. I loved
Right.
it because I was saying, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
this is what my people, my teams were doing.
Yes.
And this is the kind of things that they ran up against, the challenges that they had. And so it really was very, a great thing because I was now understanding what
Okay.
they went through.
Okay.
And it was the kind of thing that maybe if I'd have been totally honest with myself at the very beginning, that I would have done. Now, in that day and time when I was going through University of Maryland, you only had hardware and software. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
software
Yes.
was like programmers. And I always remember it's a funny thing, Dorian. I always remember I was at the University of Maryland and I was taking a Fortran class, which is a very old
You know what? I
programming.
don't know what that means. Do they do that today, or do they still
No, 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 no. Fortran is pretty much,
gone?
pretty
Yeah.
much grandfathered out. And we had punch cards. You actually had cards that they punched, and you had to wait like 2 hours in line to put your punch cards in. They would run them through the batch computer, the big main computer,
Mhm.
and then you would find out you had a comma in the wrong place
Oh, wow.
and you had to start over. And
Oh, wa
I said to myself, there's no way I'm doing this.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I'm going to be snake raven mad by the time
Yes, of course.
but,
So
obviously, the
mhm.
technology has advanced
Yes. Oh my god.
so
Now we are talking about AI. Everything is totally different.
I can't say enough to the young folks about ChatGPT.
Okay, what do you think about that?
I love it,
Okay.
and I want them to embrace it,
Okay.
okay?
Good.
The people that are gonna be really, really good in today's market are gonna know how to use ChatGPT. Now, I'm not talking about, using it for cheating or anything. What I'm saying is know how to leverage it
Yes. It's a
to
tool
make
that you can
you
leverage. Yes.
a better engineer, a better software developer, and that's what I spent a lot of time doing. And to be honest with you, Dorian, I think there's a niche here for I was thinking about trying to coach people about how to use ChatGPT to really help them in their job skills.
That's amazing, and that's definitely doable. One thing that came to mind while you were talking again is and this is amazing for the viewers. This is amazing for the young folks. This is like great advice, and I think that using ChatGPT for engineering is a part that people haven't explored yet. Definitely for sure. And what came to mind was what's been the bigger surprise, right, about today's software engineering world compared to when you did it in the past?
Okay. The biggest difference, Doreen, that is a brilliant question. The biggest difference is when I first started in software, it was a procedural language. Now, what do I mean by that? Have you ever heard of flow charting, a flow chart?
Yes.
It's like do A, do B. If C equals D,
Mhm.
go over
Go
here,
here, go
do this.
yes.
So it's very procedural. And it made a lot of sense to most
Yes.
people. I mean, you could learn that, right?
Right.
In today's world, it's very different. It's much more it's not procedural. It's like,
Mhm.
I wanna say 5th, 6th generation, depending on, it's like 5 generations removed from that. It's a much higher level thing.
Okay.
Okay. So rather than being down here coding for like chips and stuff, you're
Mhm.
way up here. You're way up
Wow. Right.
and it's getting to a point where it's closer to human language. Now it's not quite there yet, but if you pair chat GPT with knowledge of how to program in a particular language, it's very, very helpful. I mean,
Amazing.
those are the people that are gonna really, because we've all heard about ChatGPT, there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna lose their jobs. No, no. You want to use ChatGPT to help you. It's like, I remember when I was a kid, there was a guy, I can't remember the name,
Mm,
but this was a famous guy, and he was the best at laying track
okay.
for trains. Okay. And they just invented this machine. It was Casey something, I forget his name. And they just invented this machine to lay track. And this guy actually beat the machine, but he had a heart attack
Oh, wow.
at the end. It was kind of like he was trying to say people are better than machines, right? And God bless him, right? I mean, to have that kind of passion. But what we need to do now is embrace these new technologies, not fight them.
Right.
You need
I
to
love it.
embrace
Yep.
them.
We need to embrace it because that's the new world. Everything is
Ex
becoming AI. And
exactly, and you're gonna be so much better.
right.
And what I found out about ChatGPT is I'll give you a secret here, so I hope UMGC is not listening, but I actually learn more from ChatGPT than I do from my class.
No, I mean like you said something that is very true. It's
Yep.
leveraging it and knowing exactly how to use it. And that's where you can definitely pick up
And you
any
can ask it the beauty of it is, let's say you're in a class and you're reading a textbook, and that's great. That's great. Reading a textbook and you understand maybe 90% of it, but 10%, I really don't get this. You can't ask the book questions.
right. Right.
Chat GPT, you can.
Perfect. So, Tom, if you could advise 5-year-old Tom, 5-year-old Tom, if you could advise your 5-year-old self who felt pressure to move into management, or what would you say to your younger self? Put it that way.
I would say I would go back to my first 3 principles, Doreen. I would say, do what you love, do what you're good at. And usually those first 2 are pretty easy because they generally go together, right?
Hmm. Right.
And the third one is the hardest one, do what's in demand. I might really be good at making baskets. I might love to make baskets, but if nobody's buying them,
Buying it.
it's a hobby. It's a hobby, right?
I love that, merging your passion with what is in demand. Because you can follow
Yeah,
on passion all you want, but it's not in demand. Nobody knows it, nobody wants it. So I like merging it both, your passion and what is in
exactly.
demand. So that's really great. So coming back now to our listeners that are 50 years old and above, right? They are considering a second act or step in a different direction. What will you advise them to do?
I would say you're never too old. You're never too old because the beauty of it is, I mean, couple of things. I mean, one is people are living long. Okay. I'm 67, right? And I mean, this is great. It's like I've discovered a whole new thing. I mean, I work out twice a day. I swim. Used to be a competitive swimmer. I swim in the morning, and then after that, I go to the gym, and I have this trainer, this guy that works me out, and then I'm doing this class, and it keeps my brain occupied.
Yeah.
I would say, don't count yourself out. In fact, if you're in your 50s, I would say you're in your sweet spot.
Wow.
Because you've got that wisdom,
Mhm.
you've got that discipline and energy. And I would
Yeah.
say, absolutely, your first career doesn't have to be your last. You want to continuously improve, and it's never too late to improve.
Continuous improvement.
It's
I
absolutely never too late.
never, never.
And one of the book that I would advise all of our listeners to read is a book that it's still relevant today
Okay.
called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
People, how to win friends and influence people.
And it was written by a gentleman by the name of Dale Carnegie back in the 30s.
Yep.
And it is as relevant today
Yep.
as it ever was because what it's going to teach you teamwork.
Right.
It's going to teach you how to work with other people. Okay. And if I were to have to say the one thing that it took me a long time to figure out was how to work with other people and not feel like I had to outshine everyone. You
Exactly.
know what I mean?
Collaboration.
Within a team. Yes. 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 Because, and it's no excuse, but
Mhm.
the system I grew up in
Mhm.
was the people that got ahead were the valedictorian, the person that had the highest GPA.
Yeah.
Wasn't the person that was really good about helping other people and working. That, in fact, if you did that too much, said you were cheating. So it's not an excuse, but
Yeah. No, but
it's
that's
kind of like
amazing.
a
And what
system.
excites you the most? What excites you the most about software engineering today?
Doreen, it's helping people like you.
Wow.
It's helping younger folks. My passion now is I get so much joy out of helping people.
Okay.
Um, with the particular skills that I have, with the journey that I've taken.
Right.
So I can help younger people. So maybe they don't make the same mistakes I made and they can really, blossom.
Right.
Um, and, at the stage of my life, I mean, it's giving back. I want to give back.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help people. It's not how much money I can make. I made my money. It's I want to give back. I want to coach. And when you reached out to me, it was so thrilling for me to be able to do this because
Yes.
nobody's ever done that before.
No, that's
Um,
I love to do it. I love to talk to people about their next step, using your skills and your expertise, your passion, you know. So one question I have is that how, like, because you're doing a master's degree program right now. So how do you envision using that master's degree? Do you want to use it in coaching, in consulting, in teaching? What
coaching, coaching,
Okay.
those three things, probably more coaching and teaching. I think that Now, I do think software engineering is going to change. Okay.
Okay.
With AI, there's still going to be a need for software engineers because I see the limitations of AI.
Right. You
Okay.
see the
You
limitations.
need someone that really understands the big picture.
Okay.
But I would say to folks, computer engineering. If I were to say, oh, in today's world, in that particular world, I would get an undergraduate degree in computer engineering,
Okay.
and then I would get a master's in software engineering or take a boot camp. But throughout that entire journey, I would be spending 4 hours a day on ChatGPT or some kind of AI because that is what's going to put you ahead of everybody else.
Right. So we always end every episode with what's one positive outcome that you're proud of? What is that one thing that takes you there? What is that one thing that you're proud of? What outcome over your life, over your career? What is that one positive outcome that you're really proud of?
Doreen, that is so intelligent, the outcome, right? Because the funny thing is I worked with so many different cultures. Okay. And there are some cultures that, oh my God, they work harder than dogs, right?
Sure.
Effort is the king, right? And they're just now figuring out that it's effort is great. I mean, you have to put in effort to get results, but it's the results, it's the outcomes that are really important. And I used to tell all my teams, I used to tell them, guys, I want you Friday afternoon, I want you to be on the golf course, right? I don't want you hanging out for the weekend, working on stuff because you got it done during the week,
Yes.
right?
You need to take a pause.
And
Yeah.
you achieved the outcomes. What am I most proud of? My gosh. Well, couple different things. When I was a kid, I was a swimmer, competitive swimmer, and I set a county record. That was obviously something that
Yeah.
I think it was 16. Yeah, 6 years old.
Right.
And then um when I was on the submarine, I figured out a problem. And I remember, Doreen, I was very sensitive, insecure, because they wanted to send the guy out that designed all the hardware. And instead of, because they didn't trust me, right? Right before they sent him out, I figured out the problem. Let's see. And then the other thing I would say is my ability to do things like today to give back. And that's what I would offer your audience, you know, if they would like to reach out or if I can reach out to them.
Definitely.
I would love to coach and I don't charge any money. You know, I don't do it for the money. You know, that is what I really treasure is being able to give back on things like what we're doing today. I would say that is above and beyond the best. That's the best thing right there.
I absolutely love it. So everyone, we have learned from I would say wisdom, right? A lot of wisdom from practicality, from experience. And I want to recommend all of us to go and get Dale's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. And remember the three things that Tom talked about. Do what you like, follow your passion, and what is in demand. So it's been such an amazing time. Thank you for listening to Positive Outcomes. Follow the show. I will have Tom's contact available for coaching, and we will see you guys next time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay,
Tori.
so I'm
It's
gonna
been a
just
pleasure.
no, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to Positive Outcomes. Follow the show and share this episode to inspire someone's next chapter.